Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. Today's going to be a quick little video where I am going to try to put infusible ink on this cute little sequin plush that I just bought at the Dollar Tree. Now they had the stocking, they had a star, and I think they had one more design. It might have been a Christmas tree. I'm not 100% sure on that. But for my first project where I try to put infusible ink on something that is sequin, I thought spending $1 on this cute little stocking would be a good investment. Now, I honestly do not know if this is going to work or not work. I have seen people put infusible ink on sequined items, pillows in particular. I don't know what the sequins on this are made out of. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to give it a try. So let me get working on Design Space and then we'll launch into this. For today's project, I'm going to use the Christmas stocking, some heat-resistant tape, scissors, my Cricut brayer, a cute little ruler. I tend to lose my rulers. This was the only one I could find. My Cricut Easy Press mat, a piece of cardstock. I'm not going to use that because typically you put that inside a pillow or a shirt or something that you are infusing with the ink. This is so thick, I'm not worried about the ink going through and ruining my mat, but I wanted to include it because that is typical protocol. I might use the tweezers if the backing of my infusible ink doesn't lift up with the tape when I take the tape off. And then you do cover over the top of your infusible ink with a piece of butcher paper. I'll also use my large Cricut Easy Press 2, my computer for Design Space, and then my Cricut Maker. So I'll turn my computer on and we'll get started with the design. Now that I'm in Cricut Design Space and I told my machine or the software that I wanted to do a new project, I'm going to click on text. I'm typing in the word joy, and I want a big bulky font that is really very plain. I'm going to type the word joy, and I want my letters stacked on each other. So I hit return between each letter. Now let's move this up. I use the font Arial Black because that is a nice, plain, solid, chunky font. Very plain. The first thing that I want to do is I want to decrease my line spacing so that they move a lot closer together. Let's just go with -5. See how that looks. I forgot my negative sign. -5. Okay, I like that. I want it to be somewhere around 4.5 inches tall. So I go up to my height area and click 4.5. Now, as I made them bigger, the letters spaced out just a little bit more. I'm going to go -5.5. See what that looks like. Okay, I like that. Then the other thing is, it looks like the O and the Y are centered on top of each other, but this J looks like it's further to the left. See how the right side of it comes down in the middle of the, not the middle of the O, the middle of the right side of the O, and the edge of the J is about even. So this needs to move over a little bit. Let me go ahead and select all of them. Click on alignment and tell it to center them. Okay, I like that, but I would like my O to be a little bit, oops, let's ungroup those. That way I can move just my J just slightly over. Okay, it also feels like my Y is further down than my J. I think that's just mainly because where the top of the Y is over here on this side of the O, and that's curved, so it's further up. But I still think I would like it up just a little bit. I could do the distribution. Let me find that. Okay, I could say distribute vertically. Let's see if it moves anything. But I still want the Y to be just a little bit higher. Just makes me feel better. Now I'm going to select the O and the Y. They're probably still fine, but I'm going to say center horizontally. Okay, the O moved just a little bit. I like that. Now let's see how tall my whole design is. It's 4.20. I'm going to make that a little less than 4.5. Let's go 4.35. Okay. So if I were to send it to the maker, let's see what it looks like. Okay, that's not what I want it to look like at all. So you have to select the whole word, click attach, and now it will stay the way it looks on the screen. So I click make it. I want to move it over just a little bit so it'll start at about a little more than an inch down and a little more than an inch over from the left. I'll click continue. On this next screen, I'm going to select Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet. Now, it wants me to make sure that my fine point blade is in my maker. Right now, I actually have my deep point blade in, so when I turn the camera angle around, I will show you how to change that out real quickly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my infusible ink out. I have some of the black left from the package that I just showed you. It's a combination package of black and buffalo check or buffalo plaid. They call it buffalo check, red and black buffalo check. I did some pillowcases with the buffalo check some time ago. Now my design is about close to 4.5 inches long. So let's see how long that is. That's not long enough. I think I'll just cut off this area right here. Another thing is you want to have some clean hands when you're doing this. It's really important that any oils or grease or anything that is on your hands does not get onto the surface of the infusible ink. Now I know that this piece looks like it's brown. As it goes on, whatever you're putting it on, it really does turn black. Okay, as I recall, we were about an inch down and an inch over, so I'll go slightly less than that in placement of my infusible ink. I want to really brayer that down. Okay, hopefully that's good. Now, I think I told you that I had the wrong blade in. It's just what I had in on my last project, the deep point blades. I'm going to clean that off before I put it up. Get my premium fine point blade. Push the blade out, make sure that it has nothing on it. Okay, so I put a little pressure on this end or this back side of the mat. And let's cut. Bring the material out. Okay, so I typically turn my things over and pull the mat off of the material, the fabric, the vinyl, whatever I'm using. I want to go ahead and get my mat covered up to keep any dust or debris off of it. Okay, so to weed the infusible ink, I'm going to lift that up so you can see the letters are cut out. You just kind of start bending it. And it did cut all the way through in some places, so that might make it a little bit more difficult. But once you can grab a piece of it, okay, once you can grab a piece of what you're going to weed out, it gets a whole lot easier. Basically, you just start pulling it out from around the design that you're keeping. And it comes right off. There's no need for a weeding tool, and I really wouldn't use a weeding tool because you might accidentally scratch your design. So let me set that down here. I need to get my Cricut Maker up to temperature. I'm going to set it to 385. For 40 seconds. So we'll let that get up to temperature. Now here's my cute little sequin Christmas stocking. I'll go ahead and cut the tag off. And I'm going to at least trim this tag so it's not sticking out so far, being very, very careful. Now these are the cute little sequin things that you can flip the sequins up and you can make designs. They're really, really cute just like that. But I was very curious on whether the infusible ink would work. So if one doesn't flip over, just lift the others off of it, flip it down, and then you can flip the others right back down. I see one up there. This wouldn't matter because my joy probably isn't going to cover it. But this little guy right here, there we go, was not cooperating. Now this one isn't. Again, that wouldn't matter because the joy's not going to be on it, but I want it to look solid red. So before we start, I want to go ahead and cover this with a Teflon sheet. You could probably cover it with your butcher paper, I'm not really sure. And I didn't tell you about a Teflon sheet, sorry about that. You get them on Amazon for really inexpensive. And as my maker is continuing to warm up, we are just gonna pre-press this. There's probably no moisture in sequins, but you are supposed to do this. I'm not going to do it for quite as long. You should do it on fabric for 15 seconds because for all I know, these sequins are gonna melt. But they did not. Now that's super hot. So you do have to let whatever you're putting the infusible ink on cool down completely. Otherwise, if you put your infusible ink down and you had to move it around, which I'm sure I probably will, the infusible ink could start infusing in the wrong place and then your project would be ruined. So let me fan this for a little bit, get it really cooled down, and then we'll keep going. Okay, this is nice and cool. So I'm going to put my design over it, and before I set it down, I'm going to kind of measure. It was about 2 inches to the edge. That's less than 2 inches. I need to come this way a little bit. It's probably easier to tell on the O because the O is symmetrical. So let's look. 1 3/4 about. Yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, I'm going to move it down just a little bit. I'm going to go with that. May not be exactly straight, but I'm going with it. Now, if you are using fabric that's thin, you want to put a white piece of cardstock under your material so you don't ruin your mat if the ink goes through. This is really thick, it's plush, I don't need to worry about that. Here's my butcher's paper. Now, here goes the experiment. I don't know if this will work. I don't know if I'm going to melt my sequins, but we're going to find out. Oh, wait. One more step. Now, before we move forward, I want to put some heat transfer tape across the infusible ink to keep it from shifting. If you use this infusible ink, you will see that when you put down your heat press, the big Cricut, it has such a nice smooth surface that the Cricut can easily move. So you want to make sure that you have your infusible ink taped down so that it doesn't accidentally get shifted, which can cause what's called ghosting. The tape doesn't stick real well to the sequins, but it is sticking. So if I were doing something with infusible ink on a shirt or a pillowcase, I would put a piece of white cardstock now between the layers of whatever I'm working on. This is very thick. I'm not concerned about it going all the way through and ruining my pressing mat. So I'm just going to put the butcher's paper on top, and we're going to try this out. I don't know if the infusible ink is going to infuse. I don't know if the sequins are going to melt, but for $1 and some leftover infusible ink, I'm not too concerned. So let's get this down, push this, and then I'm going to put some pretty good pressure on it. Since the surface of the stocking is uneven, I want to flatten it out as much as possible so that I get even coverage with my infusible ink, assuming it's going to work. Okay, I pulled it off just a couple seconds early because I could smell something that didn't smell very good, and I could see just a slight bit of smoke or steam or something coming out. So now you're supposed to let this cool completely. So I'm going to let that cool off, and then I'll be back. Okay, it's still a little bit warm, but I'm impatient, and I don't have a lot at risk here since it was only $1 and just a small amount of my infusible ink. I can see that this backing is lifting up, so I assume that it worked, but I don't know. So let's find out. Hopefully I don't pull any of these sequins off, because I assume when they got really hot, this tape adhered a whole lot better to the sequins than before it got hot. Okay, the moment of truth, and I am going to post this whether it's a success or a fail. That's what we're here for, right? Oh, it worked. That's gorgeous. That is so cute. And it is so nicely done. Let me put it really close. Wow. That's really nice. Now, if you want to make it a little bit, okay, these don't flip over as easily as they used to. Well, they're starting to get better. That was just my tag holder that fell out there if you saw something fall. Maybe as they cool, they'll be easier to turn over, but they don't turn over as easily as they used to after getting all that heat on them, but they do turn over. So if you wanted to kind of glam this up, yeah, it's a little bit too much there. You could turn some over and still get a really cute, almost animal print design. And those turned over pretty easily. Okay, it is getting easier to do as it really cools all the way off. Maybe you just scuff up the bottom and it looks like the sole of a sock that's worn. I don't know. Okay, so there it is. It was a success and it's really cute. And how inexpensive is this little project? And there we go. This is just a glare here. It really is still red. If you liked the video or found anything in it helpful or inspiring, please give me a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section. And if you'd like to see what projects I'll be working on in the future, hit the subscribe button. If you want to receive notification of when I post new things, click on the bell. Thanks for joining me. I'm Marilyn. Bye-bye.